Welcome to Soulfire Wisdom with Kate Olson. As an evolving spirit and change adventure navigator, it is Kate's mission to empower and guide you on your path and inspire your truest passions. She will encourage you to share your gifts, speak your truth, and ignite your inner wisdom and purpose. She hopes to do so with a little humor and grace and her own soulfire passion. Kate talks with amazing guests who have embraced the pursuit and are fanning the flames of their own passion, purpose, and soulfire wisdom. Now here's your host, Kate.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Soulfire Wisdom and Totally Awesome, Try Something New and Talk About It Tuesday. So what I tried this week is I tried one of those online yoga courses. And I took a laughter yoga class once, but other than that, I haven't taken any yoga classes. I've always thought that that's something I would like to do, I should do, but I haven't up until now. And with all of the classes that they have online, I thought it was a good time to try it. And it was actually pretty easy to follow along and do the movements. I could see how it's really good for you. I'll have to say I'm a little bit sore in a few places, and yeah, it's a good workout without making you feel like you're really working out. And I can see how they say it's as well as a physical practice, it's a mental and emotional practice. So if you haven't tried one of the online yoga classes, or if you've thought about trying yoga, give it a try. I think I liked it. So we have a great show planned for today. My guest is Davina Lyons, and she's an entrepreneur and an author, a speaker, an educator, and a coach who's overcome a lot of hardships, childhood trauma, multiple miscarriages, abusive relationships, and unfulfilling careers. And from her experience, she knows for certain those terrible things do not define your life. Despite what she's been through, she's always had the belief that she was created for a greater purpose. She is currently the owner of Davina Lyons Enterprises and the founder of Tribe Authentic Women, TAW. So the TAW group helps women become their best self, which means self-discovery, redefining and elevating their life standards. Davina is a contributing author in The Lemonade Stand, From Sour to Sweet, Inspiring Women's Stories of Strength and Success by Michelle Faust. What did Davina learn to do on her journey, and what she inspires and motivates women to do is embrace their authentic self. That requires turning the lens inward. The TAW community exists to serve the purpose of taking action. It takes time and a whole lot of intentional mindfulness to create real change inside and out. And so I met Davina about 3 years ago down at a speaking event in Phoenix. And that was actually before she started her TAW group, and we connected on Facebook. So I sort of followed what she was doing and saw that she had created this group and was focusing on authenticity. So when I decided that that was a topic that I'd like to talk about, she automatically came to mind. And so I'm really happy to have her here today. How are you?
Fantastic, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. So to get things started off, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what brought you to your current path?
Okay, so in addition to being an entrepreneur, I'm also a middle school teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I have the privilege of teaching in the Gila River Indian community, Native American children, and it is also one of the reasons why I decided that I really wanted to create a space for women, because when I see young girls in the classroom and I understand the path that they have ahead of them, and some of the things that they need to strengthen them, it inspires me to want to work with the young ones, but also to encourage older women as well. So that's that. There's this connection that I have with wanting to be a champion for children as well as for women. So that's pretty much. I'm an educator, but I'm also an entrepreneur, and I have an adult son also.
Okay. All right. So tell us a little bit more about Tribe Authentic Women Workshop. And she told me that she just had that yesterday, so she can tell us.
Yesterday, yes.
Tell
Yeah,
us.
so of course, with COVID-19 and our new reality, it started 2 years ago in March of 2018. We started having a workshop in Mesa, Arizona, every month, and that up until the pandemic, we were meeting that way. And so the last two workshops, though, have been online. And it's actually been wonderful because I have the opportunity now to engage women that are not just local. So that's a blessing in disguise, right? So, but basically, I had the idea around the time that you and I met. I knew that I wanted to do something. And I thought at the time that it involved mainly being a speaker, a platform speaker. And so that's why I was at that particular event. But what I realized is that, and I've been coaching for a while now. I've been working as a life coach, and I wanted though to bring women together. Hence the name Tribe, Authentic Woman, because I wanted women to come together and support one another. And then as they strengthen themselves, they would pull more in, and so on and so on. So the multiplicity of it to me was really, really powerful, in that once women felt safe enough to explore who they really are, then they could help other women do the same. So we started the workshop first, and my initial platform had to do with women using their authentic voice. Because what I found, again, and a lot of people thought that that meant something to do with public speaking, but really it was about feeling safe and comfortable enough to express how you really feel. And in doing so, you were being authentic. And so that's where that whole notion of Tribe Authentic Woman came from. And I started out the first year really, really focusing on what you say. And then I realized something. I realized that the issue wasn't so much with people knowing or people speaking up, it was knowing what to say. And so I decided to explore it at a different angle. And I developed the 8 steps to mastering authenticity. And that is what we do month over month. We tackle one step at a time. It's an evergreen program that continually runs, and women at any point can join. And it doesn't matter. They're not, contiguous. one does not rely on the other. So the bottom line is, um, I'm providing opportunities for women to sort of delayer themselves, peel back the onion. So we start with identity. Identity is the very first step that I usually start with. And from there, we go to personality. So yesterday was personality, and we're doing color code personality assessment. Each year, I'll change the assessment so that women have different experiences.
Good.
This is color code. Last year, we did ocean. Um, so so each way or angle, if you think about a diamond and you think about all the different ways a diamond can shimmer as you turn it, we are the same way. We're multifaceted as people. So in the different ways in which we look at ourselves, I believe you turn the lens inward. I believe our workshops have nothing to do with what people are doing to us or how we're relating to people, as much as it is how do we relate to ourselves, how do we treat ourselves. And so that's why I call it embracing who I am, because that is super, super important. So we're in year 3 now. And with year 3, I decided to add the Authentic Me community. And so in addition to having just a monthly workshop where we come together and then we leave and we don't see each other again for a month, and actually there's no real accountability in between, I decided to tighten the community, so to speak. And people have options. So some people may want to still just come to the workshop. So that's one price point. But I also have the opportunity for women to become a more intimate part of a community, higher level of accountability and engagement. And that Authentic Me community, I'm engaged with almost daily. So I do Monday morning check-in. I do a voice message to them. I am in there posting. All of our Zoom workshops are housed there, the videos. So when women join and they get in the community, if they want to go back and look at prior workshops, they can. Just more resources. But I feel like oftentimes we're asked to figure out why, but the how is what's missing. And people struggle with that.
Yes.
So that's what it's about. Yeah.
Okay, so how do you define authenticity?
So that's so funny. When I first started, everyone was so confused by that. In fact, I had so many people say to me, why are you using the word authentic? That is such a tough word, or it makes people feel some kind of way. People don't want to feel like they're fake or they're not real. And it's like, that is not what I mean at all. So my definition is really about aligning your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. And so, whereas often people are in a position of compromise, maybe they think one way or they feel another way, and then of course you're going to act on the position that you're in. And so I really define it as really there's this sweet spot where those intersect, your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. That, to me, that sweet spot is authenticity. It's getting to a place in your life where you feel good about making decisions, confident and courageous enough to make decisions that align with your core values and not feel compromised unapologetically.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, Kate, you know exactly what I mean. When you get there, it's a nice place to be.
Yes. And if you're not there, that's usually what leads to some of the things that feel like problems in your life.
That's right. That's right.
So, I guess we kind of started on answering this one, but why is authenticity important? Why is it important to get to that place?
Yeah. So I realized, looking at my own life, that and you mentioned some of those things in the introduction that I experienced. And I came up in a very dysfunctional household, and that's why I have such a love for helping and supporting children in the classroom that may be in that situation. But I often, I almost felt like my whole life I had to compromise. And in doing so, if I think about where I am today and where I could be, there's a vast difference. And a lot of it had to do with not feeling safe, not feeling, for one reason or another, feeling like I was always in survivor mode. And so to me, it's very important, the sooner the better, to get people to realize that it's okay to understand what matters most to you and to direct your life on that path. It's okay to say no. It's okay to, and I realize that some people are in a situation where they feel like they can't. But I do believe that you have choices all along the way, all along your journey, whether good or bad. And it's about knowing that you have those choices and being able to make decisions feeling like you're safe to do it. For me, once someone understands the notion of authenticity, truly understands what it means, then they start to make decisions that will reinforce them as in terms of keeping them on that path that they need to be on. Even if you're in the midst of a traumatic situation, if you can see beyond your situation, if you can see where you'd like to be, if you can imagine it, it even in the midst of your troubles, you will one day get there. You just have to keep your eyes fixed on it.
Yes.
So authenticity to me is really essential to living that type of life.
Yes. And when I have clients that come to me and they're saying things like, I have to make this decision and I just don't know what to do, or I've got this choice and this choice and it's so confusing and I feel so much stress. It's usually because they're out of alignment in some way. And they don't even realize it.
Right. And they also probably have some misguided fear.
Yes.
Not understanding if I do this, feeling like this thing is going to bring this about. Sometimes we think we'll lose relationships. Sometimes we think we will lose career, we'll lose our jobs. There's so many things that people think they'll lose. They don't live according to the way that they really should. And they're not taking the risks that would actually bring them the biggest reward.
Yes. So what are some of the biggest challenges you or women you serve have with authenticity?
Most definitely relationships. Relationships are impacted, and it's not always like the mate, husband, wife. I have women who often have issues with mother-in-law, issues with being able to communicate effectively or feel validated in that relationship. And I've heard all types of stories, but I can tell you that I think relationships are one of the number one issues, and another is career, issues within the job. People go against their core values all the time for the sake of keeping a job. Those are the two big ones. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, it can even be family.
Oh, yeah.
We try to be that person that, they either thought we were or they wanted us to be.
Yes.
And instead of, who we really are.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, do you know when you have achieved authenticity, or how do you know when you've achieved it?
That's a great question. It has to do with how you really, truly, how you feel. So if you're ever inauthentic or in a situation that is you're going against your grain, so to speak, you definitely know how that feels.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are in alignment, there's harmony. there's peace. You don't have those moments of angst. What should I have done this or should I have done that? Even if you make a decision that others don't like, but if it's a decision that aligns with your spirit, then you feel good.
Yeah.
I would say it has a lot to do with how you feel, and that feeling is empowering.
You don't have so much trouble making that decision because you just know that that's the decision that you have to make.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes it's an unpopular decision. It
Yeah.
can be an unpopular decision, but again, it has to do, because I don't think people do enough of, and you're a spiritual person. I mean, I don't think people do enough following their own spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't. Just because there are meditative practices, there are so many things that you can do to really get in touch with yourself. I learned a while ago to turn off the television. I don't do much television watching at all. And if I do, I'm very guarded about what I watch. So I love comedy because it makes me laugh. I
Mm-hmm.
don't watch anything that's horror or action drama or anything that shows negative stuff. So that's some of the things that we talk about in the workshop, is that what are you feeding yourself? And because what you feed grows. And so you have to be really aware of that. And for me, I want to take in things that are positive. And so that also contributes to the knowing when you are faced with making a decision, because you're solid. You're not influenced by negative spiritual stuff, negative anything. So it takes work. It's a process. What I'm talking about is a process. It's not
Yeah, it takes work, and the more work you do, the more aware you become. It's an awareness. I can have a client sitting there and they're actually telling me exactly what the problem or conflict or misalignment is, but they don't realize it. They aren't aware of how one thing they're saying is really incongruent with
exactly.
this other core part of them.
It's so true.
So, along with emotional intelligence, and the word authentic seems to be a buzzword at times
Mm-hmm.
for leaders to be effective and, in other ways. So I'm curious what you think about authenticity for leaders.
I actually do a workshop for leaders, corporate leaders, and I did it for one of the North Central University had me speak online about this, and it really has to do with everything that we're talking about for the individual in in a leadership role. Not only are you responsible to make decisions that are truly value based, but not just value based for yourself, but value based for the organization. So the first thing is, you don't belong in the organization if your values don't align with the organization. But if your values happen to align with the organization, then it's so much easier for you to be able to lead from that space. Oftentimes, organizations don't really resemble their values, and that's where you have the problem. As a leader, it's your responsibility to lead and to be a good example and to model. If you are not in alignment, if you are not authentic, then you are going to fail your direct reports. So it's really about understanding, and people can see when you're not in alignment. And it's a ripple effect. It affects everyone. So I believe it's super important in a leadership role. But let's be real. We have to lead our lives as well. So it's the same process.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you're a leader in your home. Your children see you, watch you, understand. Yeah. They see your inconsistencies. They know when you're wearing a mask. So I think it's the same everywhere you go.
Yeah, that do as I say, not as I do, really doesn't work.
It does not work. Absolutely.
So why do you focus on women? I mean, everybody actually needs to have this quality.
It's true. I had to make a decision. I know personally that I have no issues with working with men, but I do have issues with pulling both in the room together. So, and the reason for that is I believe it's sacred space for women to be able to share some things that they shouldn't have to share in front of men. So I made the decision to work specifically with women so that women felt safe. I have opportunities to collaborate, and I know of male, um, I would say, power partners who do the same thing. I know a couple that focus on authenticity, and we've talked about at some point coming together to do some sort of an event. But the truth is, I want my women to feel safe, and I want them to be able to express things that it wouldn't be right for them to, nor would they. I would be putting them in a position to be out of alignment in a forum where there's a man in the room.
Okay. So, what is your favorite authenticity quote?
So everything that Brene Brown says,
Okay.
but just everything that she says about authenticity and vulnerability and all of that. But the one thing that she says, let go of who you think you're supposed to be and embrace who you are.
Yes.
That is my favorite.
Yeah,
That's on every slide presentation for my workshops. It's all over the place. It's on my website. Yeah.
that's a good one, and also hard.
It is. It is.
To let go of those previous beliefs,
Right.
limiting beliefs, and actually.
Yeah. And that's why we separate all of the tenets. So focusing on identity, then focus on personality and behavior, needs, motivations, choices. We focus on all those areas because that is the only way that women can start to unpack where they are. And I have a lot of women say, oh, wow, that's why I do this, or that's why I think this way. Oh, and when you talk about, we start out talking about deep identity, we start with deep identity because the age of 0 to 7 is not, it's not a logical time for you. It's just a time you're existing and you're taking in what you see, but you have a hard time making meaning of it. After the age of 7, around 8, 9 years old, you start to make meaning of what's going on around you. And you take your environment in, and this is where some of the biases or the insecurities or all the stuff starts to happen. It's important to go back and unpack that. It's important to understand, okay, this is why I see this way or that way. And it is a very deep process. And so not only having it, but it's great to have those aha moments and then have someone in the room that you can share it with. And this is where the tribe comes in, because now I can get a different perspective. You can get a different perspective and have something to measure it against, as opposed to just staying stuck in your own mind, in your own way. That's big.
So, what aspect of your Tribe Authentic Women workshop is your favorite? What do you like doing best?
I love the interaction. I love when women are able to pair up and talk and then share out. I guess that's the teacher in me, but I really enjoy the interaction more than anything. It's not my standing up or speaking or any of that is, to me, so it's not as effective as it is when women engage one another.
So what's the biggest benefit or value that participants get when they attend one of the workshops, or how do you see that?
Self-awareness.
Okay.
Self-awareness. All of the attention is on them, maybe sometimes for the first time. I have women typically who come for the first time say, I've never even taken the time to think about myself. I've never taken the time to, because I'm still thinking about my husband or my kids or my mom, or I'm always caretaking. And wow, I don't do anything for myself. And I had a lady tell me that today. She came to the workshop yesterday for the first time, and she followed up with a phone call with me today. And she said she herself is a coach, and she does a lot in the community, and she's had high profile positions. And she said, I just don't take care of myself. And so I'm excited about being a part of your organization because I get to do something for me. That's huge.
Yeah, that that is a lot of women.
It is.
So, what is the biggest gift or reward that you have gained from your own transformation and your mission in helping other women to be more authentic?
For me, I feel free. Freedom is a high value for me. I feel free to express myself. I feel free to make good choices and just total freedom. But what I get from seeing other women hit that stage is so much more. It's hard to put into words, but it just really it just like teaching, I think about legacy. I think about future. I think about every woman that is strengthened is going to be so much better for herself, for her family, for her community. And it just feels really, really good. I don't know how else to say it.
Well,
I feel it.
I understand it is a gift to,
Yes.
I guess, be part of someone's transformation and see them, I guess, move forward. And it's kind of that whole paying it forward
Absolutely.
idea and feeling.
Hmm. I would agree.
We are almost out of time, but I have one last question, and that is, if you could leave the listeners with one thought or takeaway from today's show, what would you want that to be?
It would be to, especially now with everything that's happening, is to go within. I always say again, turn the lens inward. Don't worry about what others think or say, but just turn the lens inward and find out what is your soul's desire? What is it that's important to you? And then go about the business of rediscovery, of get on that journey of finding what makes you scream with excitement inside and then go for it.
Okay. Well, I think that's excellent advice. So, if listeners want to get a hold of you, can you tell us how to do that?
The best way is my website, because from there you can reach me and get information. And it is my name, DavinaLyons.com. Just keep it simple. And there's a contact tab. And if you want to, I welcome anyone who would like to reach out to me. Also, I do 30-minute discovery calls. And so if someone wants to, that's the way to do it, the website.
Okay. And if you forget, who this beautiful lady is, you can go to the web radio website, that's soulfireradio.com, click on guests, and then scroll down and find her photo, and the contact info is listed there. So I want to thank you, Davina, for being here today and sharing what you do.
Thank you.
It's an important part of everybody's growth. I mean, finding out who you are turns out to be pretty important.
Very important.
Yes, and I want to thank the audience for being here today and listening. And I have a couple of thoughts to carry with you through your week. One of them is it takes courage to grow up and become who you really are. And that was said by E.E. Cummings. And then authenticity is about being true to who you are. And that was said by Michael Jordan. So simple but true. And I want to tell you to come back and listen next week. We have another great show planned. Next week, my guest will be Alex Montoya. And Alex is an extremely inspirational and motivating speaker and author, and just an amazing human being. And he's just not too long ago had a double release of books, 2 books. And so we're going to talk about his books. One is actually a children's book called Alex Masters the Monkey Bars. And then the other one is called You Got This. And it's a motivational book. And so I'm not going to give everything away. You'll have to tune in and find out about his books next Tuesday, August 11th at 3 p.m. So I'm just going to say bye for now. Have a great week. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Soul Fire Wisdom with Kate Olson. We hope you enjoyed the show. If we made you laugh, brightened your day, or sparked a new thought, we have succeeded in our mission. Join us next time when we'll share more secrets and truths and all the magic of transformation that is the journey to Soul Fire Wisdom. Always remember, be fierce in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire.